Airdrie start their 5th semi-final in major cup competitions in the last 4 years, and looking to find the way through this Dundee defence, and down the right to play Aberdeen in the Coca Cup final at the end of November. Well, Dundee, with most of their players, a trip into the unknown. Jimmy Sanderson has been involved in all these key matches for Airdrie, including the 2 finals of the Tennent Scottish Cup against Rangers and Celtic in 1992 and 1995. Tommy McQueen playing the 1986 Cup final, taking his throw for Aberdeen against Hearts. But that apart from the Dundee ranks, not a lot of big-time cup experience in the later stages at any rate. So the opening spell of the game likely to be tense. Sean Sweeney has played in a semi-final for Clydebank against Celtic, Tennent Scottish Cup of 1990. So Dundee trying to work the ball forward early in the match, patiently and carefully. The throw here will be taken by Dusan Virto, back in the side tonight. Neil Duffy missing out through injury. Headed on by Martin Vikhorst. Good goalkeeping there by Martin. He took a heavy knock as he was challenged inside the area. And Martin appears to be none the worse there, challenged by Paul Tosh. Here's Vikhorst. George Shaw on the right, the measured pass. The good ball across. Very good defending inside the area there by Sweeney. This is McCann. Dundee are looking for a fast start to the match. McCann again. Fighting in the cross, it's very dangerous, and collected by John Martin. Now 37 years old, he will be on Friday at any rate. He had to cope with this whipped-in cross from Neil McCann, an awkward one. Well taken by the keeper. Shaw playing it long. Here's Jim Hamilton chasing. Neat turn. A lot of confidence in possession, young Hamilton. That's played in by Tosh. Jimmy Boyle's header. Still, all Dundee coming forward. Tosh with a hopeful ball into the box. There's no one there to take advantage. A bit of respite perhaps for Airdrie. Paul Tosh's frustration clear. He also took a knock early in the match, clashing with John Martin. Vicious effort there by Jim McIntyre, but it gives the first touch in the game to Michel Pajot, the Dundee goalkeeper. Davis trying to work the ball clear. Virto made the challenge, caught the studs of John Davis after the ball had gone. And missed last year's final against Celtic through suspension after being ordered off against Dunfermline. Kenny Black's header. Turned all the way back by Sweeney. Vikhorst with the header. That's Sanderson. Vikhorst again. The long ball played in space by Sanderson. Jim Duffy nods it back. See how Michel Pajot stayed inside the 6-yard box, but the player manager coping calmly there. There's Shaw over on the left for Dundee. And brought down heavily there by Jimmy Boyle. Explaining himself there, Boyle, to George Shaw, who expressed, I think, his displeasure at the challenge. We'll see why here. Well, Shaw has got a complaint, especially with the ball being thumped against him by Sweeney. Here's none the worse. Neil McCann over the free kick. George Shaw coming across. It's McCann. The header away was by Jim McIntyre. And still, Airdrie can't find a way into the game at all. All the possession being enjoyed at this stage by Dundee. Alec McDonald and John McVeigh doing all the gesticulating there. That's Tosh. Good drag back. That's looking for George Shaw. Sweeney's clearance. Here's Dusan Berto. Looking for distance here. He has Paul Tosh and Jim Hamilton to aim for. Morton Decost also. That's McCann's header. They're away there by Kenny Black. A chance now for Airdrie to create with John Davis. McCann under pressure. Good recovery tackle. Here's McCann again. Sanders' clearance not at all convincing, but Decost touch let him down there. Duffy and McQueen, the veterans, go across there for Dundee to defend. Jim Duffy, now 36 years old. Very awkward cross, Pajot punching it away. It was awkward, all right. A bit of wrestling there, Boyle on McCann. Well, on such a treacherous surface, the ball whipped in here by Boyle, bouncing awkwardly. Pajot slightly misjudged the dive, I reckon. The cover was there. That's Ray Farning and well forward George Shaw with the attempt on goal. Well, Dundee still carrying the fight to Airdrie. Ray Farning and well forward. That was George Shaw. He didn't catch that properly, but he did earn a corner kick. So Shaw will take this. Oh, and almost an own goal. That was helped on the near post by Steve Cooper. Well, he opens his arms there to his teammates, but Decost couldn't get to that. Cooper helped it on. And relief there for Steve Cooper to see that go behind for a corner. Could so easily went into the far post. The tall figure of Morton Decost, the principal threat at the near post. Another good swinging corner kick there from McCann. So the near post area well covered by Airdrie, but Decost has the height there to cause problems. Decost directing traffic. That's McCann. John Martin punching the ball away. Here's McCann again. Martin thought of it coming for that, then changed his mind. Jim Hamilton challenging. Well, Airdrie survive another onslaught from Dundee. So Paul Tosh backtracking there. Back with John Martin now. He took a knock right at the start of the match in a collision with Tosh. He doesn't look entirely comfortable. Neither side, incidentally, having a substitute goalkeeper on the bench. Duffy did well. Here's Decost, who wants to get the ball down and play, I'm sure. That's the chance to play some passes. Being denied any time there by John Davis. A very good long ball that from Pajot. Pushing by Shaw. Free kick to Airdrie. That was on this very ground that Airdrie lost a penalty shootout last season to Raith Rovers. Sanderson pumping the free kick forward. That's won by Manley. There's McQueen. Shaw getting in behind Sweeney. This is Hamilton. Offside against Farningham. Ray Farningham playing in the centre of midfield. halted by Graham Allison's flag, the linesman. Well, Farningham waiting to playing in the heart of midfield for Dundee. Beekhorst calmly back to McQueen. Little dummy there from Hamilton was quite effective, but no one in behind him. That's Sandy Stewart holding off Paul Tosh. Good play by Stewart. Now Black, an injury out before the match. Excellent dummy by Davis. Forward goes Boyle. Berto at full stretch, just got to that. Steve Cooper waiting just behind him. Sanderson keeping the ball in play, but giving it to Tosh, who gives it straight back to Airdrie with that poor ball. 22-year-old signed from Arbroath 2 years ago. There's Paul Harvey. Couldn't control that. Sweeney has plenty of time. Reacts to a call from Martin. Manley leaning into Cooper there. It's a free kick to Airdrie. Airdrie always dangerous with these set pieces. Here's Paul Harvey. Farningham. Up from Berto. Here's Beekhorst striding through midfield. Still on his own. No one on the left. Has to check back. Supported by Farningham. There's the shooting chance. Disappointment there for Farningham. Looks to the heavens. He's playing in his 7th semi-final, Ray Farningham, and he's yet to make a final. And Beekhorst showing real commitment, good control, checked back when he had no support ahead. And here was Farningham now. This is a very good shooting position, and he'll feel he should have hit the target. Cross header, off goes Shaw. Chance to take on Sanderson. Awkward down for Martin. It was going into the far post. Shaw explains himself to his teammates there. Sandy Stewart was the player in trouble. The slip gave Shaw plenty of time here. Sanderson holding him up. It was good defending that by Sanderson. Oh, great play by Davis. Cooper's layoff, well read by Berto. Black. Now Smith. Laying it off the referee, who apologises. That's Tosh. And the throw to Airdrie, the ricochet from George Shaw. I'm sure referee McCluskey will be quite happy about the fact that Airdrie have possession again. This is Jim McIntyre taking on Manley. It's awkward, the chance on there. And Neil Cooper leaning in there. Held off very well indeed by Tommy McQueen. But Michel Pajot was scrambling across his line for that. That's McQueen again with the clearance. Sanderson will be up and under. It's won by Manley cleanly. Here's Farningham. The way he had to shrug off Kenny Black. That's determined play. Here's McCann. Tries to run at Jimmy Boyle. Sanderson goes across to give cover. Well, the surface difficult tonight after all the rainfall. That's Paul Harvey. Davis now has Smith outside him. Too much pace on the pass. Tony Smith shakes his head there. 21-year-old, released by Hearts 2 years ago. Alec MacDonald there, looking on anxiously. His team struggling really to get going, but still looking menacing when they attack. Calmer on the Dundee bench. Smith heads it away. So we've had quarter hour of the match dominated by Dundee, but without causing John Martin too many anxious moments as yet. Berto plays it back. Pajot can launch a long ball downfield. Didn't get any height in that. John Davis was there. Careless one by Duffy. McQueen put under pressure there by McIntyre. Well, he left Aberdeen to go to West Ham United, Tommy McQueen. Duffy snatching at the clearance. A throw it is to Airdrie. Neither side really settling to a passing game. Davis fires it across goal. And a glimpse of goal there for Kenny Black. With a very good left foot, Black, for that situation. Hasn't yet opened his account this season, though. John Davis rifling that across. It came off Duffy straight to Kenny Black, who chose to shoot first time. Small contingent of Airdrie supporters. Didn't sell too many of their tickets, only about 2,000 odds here. It's well taken down by Tosh. Well, in the end, it's Airdrie who have possession. Tosh is backtracking fast as the shot goes in from Harvey. And there's going to have to be a hold-up here for an injured player. And the man on the ground requiring attention here appears to be Dusan Berto. Very heavy collision Berto was involved in there. Caught his shoulder, may have damaged the collarbone area. Well, here's a collision. It took the full force of Tony Smith there, Berto. Possession returned there to Dundee by Steve Cooper. Cross for the header. Led forward by Stewart. Here's Harvey. Well, Airdrie often criticised for being a very down-to-earth, closing down type of team, but they do carry John Davis and Paul Harvey in his side, and they're both very skillful touch players. But they haven't yet been able to see enough of the ball in midfield to create for Airdrie. Roddy Manley back from Hong Kong. And Dusan Berto is set to take the throw. That's Kenny Black. Great ball. Harvey. Overheading the cross. It's gone behind for the goal kick. Plays with lots of skill and craft, Paul Harvey. Started his career at Manchester United before returning to Clydebank. A much bigger contingent of Dundee supporters inside the stadium than Airdrie fans. Marvellous setting here at McDiarmid Park. Tosh playing it first time. Shaw cut off instantly by Sanderson. Manley's header. No one on that side of the field for Dundee to take advantage. Manley demanding from his midfield and from his front men. Now Tosh. Headed away by Sandy Stewart. Reaches McIntyre. Put up there by Farningham. Remarkable record he has. 2 semis for Forfar, 2 for Motherwell, 2 for Dunfermline, and no finals. Harvey's pass comes off Vikhorst. Pajot, sure-footed with the clearance. McCann to Duffy. Pajot's long clearance again, finding Tosh in the air. Davis again attempting a long pass, chased willingly by McIntyre. This is Harvey with Smith. Virtus clearing header straight to Kenny Black. Airdrie coming much more into things now after a very rocky start. Tommy McQueen showing good awareness there, allowing that to go through with the goal kick. Started his career with Clyde, winning the second division championship medal there before going to Aberdeen, West Ham and Falkirk. Black hoisting the ball forward. It's awkward for Manley. Made more awkward by McIntyre. Tackling tough and determined, as you would expect in a semi-final. No way of Farningham to go. Good movement offered by Davis. There's McIntyre. Well, again, engineered some good space there, Jim McIntyre. Davis in a forward position again, making the pass. Roddy Manley trying to block McIntyre's route. Editing tactics employed by Dundee. Clearly concerned about Paul Harvey playing in the hole behind Cooper and McIntyre. That's good play by Duffy. So Dusan Virto's been put in there to mark Harvey. Tosh with a header. That's Sweeney playing it long. It'll go all the way through to Pajot. So Dundee playing with three at the back. Manley, Duffy and McQueen. Virto just in front, looking after Harvey, playing off the front two for Airdrie. That's Tony Smith. Well, the conditions are by no means easy. The wind is swirling around, the surface is wet, and it's a semi-final, so nerves certainly playing a part early on in the game. Headed by Stewart. It's Tosh. Farningham bundling into Stewart and conceding an obvious free kick. Still playing with great enthusiasm, Farningham at the age of 34. Steve Cooper's head up. Neil McCann retrieves. Chance on here for McIntyre, right in front of goal. It broke off Jim Duffy. Well, now, goal kick's been given, but what a chance this was. The ricochet between McCann and Cooper. Then the shot came right off Jim Duffy into the path of McIntyre, and that's by far the best chance of the match so far. Tommy Craig with Billy Stark there. A lot of managers here, like Totten is here, Alex Smith is here, Bert Payton and Fernan also. Tosh waits for movement, cross running there between Shaw and Farningham, but doesn't shake off the markers. Here's Farningham. Trying to earn a corner, I think, has to settle for a throw. Virto comes to take the long throw. Vikhorst heads for the near post. Vikhorst challenged by Sanderson. Sanderson's clearance again. It reaches Harvey. McQueen steps in. It was for Shaw. Well, Jimmy Sanderson not the kind of sweeper to stand in ceremony. launches those long clearances consistently. This time is straight into the stand opposite. That's Berto. Handed away by Stewart. Well, it's untidy stuff at the moment. Neither side able to set up too many passing movements from the middle of the field. Very much a battle. And in the evidence of history, you'd say that would suit Airdrie more than Dundee. Just out of reach for Harvey. Stewart getting the better of Shaw. That's Berto. Smith playing it long. Duffy's header goes straight to the feet of McIntyre. Now it's with Harvey, who's drifting across to find space. Airdrie come forward again. Here's Jimmy Boyle. Now Harvey. Boyle well tackled there by Farningham. Berto to Shaw. Tosh. Headed by Sweeney, goes straight to Cooper. It's time now to pick out a pass. He's not able to do despite the efforts of Harvey to make a position ahead. Steve Cooper working very hard indeed up front for Airdrie. Sweeney's header. Played for Scotland at every level between under 16 and under 21. Side prepared to take too many chances here this evening. Dusan Berto being sucked into the general kind of negative approach to make these tackles and make certain there are no errors at the back. Berto with McIntyre, the ball still in play, and McIntyre wrestled down there by Berto, who's not happy at all. The free kick's been given to Airdrie. Harvey flights it across. Attacked there by Sweeney. Cooper. Brought clear by Manley. Well, a headed tennis going on there, and Hamilton's pass almost released Shaw. Here's Sandy Stewart. Smith playing it long, but he couldn't get that beyond Manley. McIntyre to Harvey, this is promising. Chance on again, there's Kenny Black. Hustled by Farningham. That made all the difference there to Kenny Black. But another opening created very well indeed by Airdrie on the left. Manley's header allowed Jim McIntyre to release Harvey on the left. Now this is a very good ball played in, scrambled away by McQueen. Straight to Black. Look at the effort there of Farningham to put him off. Davis to Harvey. Airdrie threatening now to take the game over after that very bright start by Dundee. Beacourse made the tackle. Shaw. Tracked all the way by Sandy Stewart. Referee allowing advantage there. George Shaw tackles Stewart from the rear. Would have been a foul had the ball not gone to Sanderson. Stewart again going in strongly and swiftly on Shaw. Referee having a word with George Shaw about that bad tackle on Stewart. Hamilton jumping with his elbow raised. That's why it's a free kick to Airdrie. Hasn't got himself into the match yet, Jim Hamilton. Well, John wrote one on the fourth official, and someone coming down there to the Airdrie bench to remonstrate with the management team. That's why the police are back in the stand. Doesn't appear you're worrying Alec MacDonald too much. Farningham with a B-Corst. Here's Jim Hamilton. Tosh to Farningham. Here's Hamilton. B-Corst well forward. McCann wants the ball on the touchline, but Hamilton wants to go it alone here. Eased out of that by Jimmy Sanderson's experience. McCann back to McQueen. Tosh marked very tightly there by Tony Smith. Manly timed that well for Dundee. Oh, very much a stalemate at the moment. Dundee's very bright start to the match now being cancelled out by Airdrie's greater involvement in an attacking sense. Here's Harvey. Well worth an attempt at a dipping volley there. He's not happy with his accuracy. Well, a difficult chance this, but you can see Harvey's intentions clearly. Trying to dip that in towards the top corner. Clearance there by Sanderson. Davis coming on at pace. Well, very ambitious there to test Pajot from that distance. Had time to go forward to. You'll see here he could have come on towards Jim Duffy, but decided to try from 30 yards. Screened well there by McIntyre. There he goes again, halted extremely well by Duffy. McQueen's clearing, Shaw trying to occupy the Airdrie defence. Jamie Boyle playing in that right wing-back position. Airdrie sticking to their tried and tested formula. Sanderson sweeping behind two markers, Sean Sweeney and Sandy Stewart. Jamie Boyle and Tony Smith wide. Kenny Black in the holding role in the centre of midfield with John Davis on the right-hand side. Paul Harvey playing just off the front two of Cooper and McIntyre. Boyle's head up. Good judgment shown there by Davis. This is Black. Good running also by Tony Smith. Well, right out of luck there as he slipped at impact. Still earning a corner kick. There's no question though that Airdrie have profited on their left flank several times here. This time the pace of Tony Smith almost got the ball across. So Airdrie, with 34 minutes in the clock, have their first corner kick. The wind whistling around there, you can see that in the corner flag. Cross clearing, back in the danger area. Berto able to clear. He wasn't happy with the attentions of Steve Cooper. Well, you have the impression that tempers are rising a little. Berto certainly not happy with Steve Cooper. Bit of pushing there. Jim McIntyre. He's the culprit, former Bristol City striker. Every player in the starting lineup for Airdrie except John Martin, coming from another senior club, none coming through the ranks. Just John Martin was the man who signed from Trent Juniors 15 years ago. Indeed, not dissimilar in fairness. Jim Duffy pulling his team together from a series of other senior clubs. Just Neil McCann really through the ranks from Morton Boys Club. Jim Hamilton from Keith in the Highland League. Paul Tosh from Arbroath. Strong attacking play here by Dundee. Here's McCann. Delivered a little too early. And John Martin did well. Took a bang on the head from George Shaw. Well, there's a goalkeeper who's been in the wars for many a season for Airdrie. A terrific servant. Look how well he does here as this ball is played across dangerously by McCann. John Martin had no option here but to follow this out. He's at full tilt there as Shaw comes in. Jimmy Boyle with a throw. Won easily by McQueen. Back with Harvey. There's Boyle again. Ball very well attacked by Manley inside the area. Harvey tries again. It's left to Pajot this time. Goes for the punch rather than the catch. There's no criticism there from Jim Duffy about that. Had to play it safe. Pajot under severe pressure there. Harvey, the man taking these set pieces. Good near post ball. Duffy did well. Jimmy Boyle. Still in play. Here's Harvey. Oh, great play by Harvey. Jim Hamilton back defending. Problem here for Pajot. Withstanding the pressure applied there by Sean Sweeney. Big French keeper doing well. Joined the club from Valenciennes last year. So it's Airdrie having possession again. They're hardly had a kick at the ball in the opening 10 to 15 minutes, but now they really are growing in stature as the game goes on and looking, in all honesty, the team more likely. And it's Harvey. McQueen's header. Boyle to Davis. Great header on there, just wide of the target. It came from Jim McIntyre. You see the frustration there on the face of McIntyre. An excellent ball played in there by John Davis. McIntyre with a header, and I don't think Pajot will reach that. Davis. Robbed by Tosh. Manley against Cooper. There's Tony Smith now attacking Manley. Another chance. And again it fell to McIntyre. He's finding all the positions inside the box. Well delivered this by Tony Smith. McIntyre perhaps too far out. Berto with the throw. There's George Shaw. Well, getting a severe mauling there by Davies and Smith. Shaw. So here we have the throw. Well, it's rough and tough, all right. No quarter Aster given here, as you would expect. Semi-finals tend to be battles. This is turning out to be no different. McQueen. Vekost. Stewart going down there after the tackle by Shaw, and George Shaw, I can tell you, is getting a little bit hot under the collar with some of the treatment he's had. McCann couldn't get the better of Jimmy Boyle's well-timed tackle. Dundee anxious to get McCann into the game, but Jimmy Boyle is the Airdrie player, delegated the task of keeping him in check. Good running by McQueen, and a fine cross. Reaches Tosh. Dundee take the lead. It's Paul Tosh. A deadly volley in the rain. And this was down to terrific play in the flank by Tommy McQueen. Look at the way he pulled this back. It moved in the wind. That's what deceived the players there. But Paul Tosh timed the volley perfectly. And Martin was rooted to the spot. Well, you'll see here what little chance John Martin had. The ball swirling away from Ray Farningham and these two defenders, and sitting up nicely for Tosh. And that's a great volley. Dundee fans celebrate. 41 minutes gone. Neil McCann getting a bit overwrought there with that tackle on Boyle. Some very good attacks by Airdrie. The irony, when Dundee were in charge, they couldn't find a way through. Then with Airdrie taking control, Dundee score against the run of play. So Airdrie anxious to try to get back in terms before half-time. It's Harvey. And Pajot had to be careful there. Swirling in at the near post. Big keeper, getting across in athletic fashion. Here's Harvey again. Careless one by Davis. Tosh. Now Shaw. McCann races through the middle. Shaw decides to go it alone for the moment at least. Needs some trickery here. Has to settle for a throw. Hard running work up front by George Shaw. So here's Paul Tosh, the goal scorer, with a throw. Headed away by Sanderson. Helped on by Tony Smith. That's Farningham. Shaw turning there. And it appeared to be a shoulder used by Sandy Stewart. George Shaw complains to the linesman. The referee unlikely to see that. There's Farningham. Tony Smith wants someone to offer themselves for a head flick on there. McIntyre to Harvey. Sanderson can play it wide for Boyle, but he likes to play it through the inside left channel for McIntyre. Now Davis. Black. Smith showing too much of that to Tosh. Sweeney has to be quick, and he is quick enough to get ahead of Hamilton. I don't think that was quite what Martin intended. It's come to no harm though. Well, the keeper had no chance with that shot from Tosh. McIntyre stepping away from Manley, brought down with a late tackle and held up also. Well, so dreadful night in Perth again, and the rain coming down in torrents just around the time of that opening goal. There's Kenny Black. Well, a good header there this time by Steve Cooper. They've been dangerous all night in the air. Airdrie, another example. Here's Harvey trying to restore some order and get the ball down to feet. Tackling McCann, the throw goes to Dundee. So we've had the 45 minutes in the first half, a little bit of stoppage time to add on. And the Dundee supporters doing all the singing at the moment. Foul by McQueen. Paul Harvey with a free kick, a late opportunity here for Airdrie in the first half. Bouncing off the top of the bar there, and the keeper get a touch. It's a corner kick. This is dipping down toward the crossbar, and the keeper took no chances at all. Kenny Black this time with the outswinger. Header away was by Hamilton. Black back to Sanderson. This ball will come forward quickly, I'm sure. Dusan Berto takes a call from his goalkeeper. Michel Pajot told him to leave that. So that may well take the heat off Dundee, with the interval fast approaching here. Michel Pajot commanding his penalty box there, telling Berto to let that run. Referee McCluskey has checked his watch and brings the first half to an end. Well, it was very scrappy early on with Dundee in control. Then as Airdrie took over, they looked very dangerous until Paul Tosh scored with that stunning volley against the run of play. And that came just after some very good attacking play by Airdrie, in which Jim McIntyre was very prominent. He had one excellent early chance and then a couple of good headers on target. But it's Dundee who have the edge. It's Dundee 1, Airdrie 0. Well, both these sides certainly earned the right to play in this semi-final. Dundee coping initially with East Stirlingshire, then beating Kilmarnock and Hearts in the Premier Division to reach this stage in the competition. John Larthan out of his box. And on the other hand, Airdrie beat East Fife initially, then Hibs and Partick Thistle, two more Premier Division scalps. So every right to be here, no question about that. And a very tough 45 minutes to come, I'm sure. Airdrie having so much at the plate, the point when they lost that goal to Paul Tosh. They'll have to build again, and Dundee will be looking for a start to match the one they had right at the beginning of the game. And there's Farningham taking advantage of that bit of confusion in the Airdrie ranks. Shaw out to McCann, who's faced by Boyle for Shadow all night. Well, that's good play by McCann, but far too much strength on the cross. Neil McCann has terrific talent on that left foot, trying very hard to deliver. Look at the way he gets away from a very experienced defender in Jimmy Boyle. And the disappointment, the long high cross. Evidence there from that goal kick that John Martin has an ankle problem with his right foot, because he injured that right at the start of the match. And Jimmy Sanderson now taking the goal kicks for him. Head run by Sweeney. That's McCann. So depth always provided there by Jimmy Sanderson. The Shaw tried to break. Let's see what Martin does with this. A bit easier to play the ball from hand, I think. Manley's header. That's Smith. Weghorst. Hamilton towards Farningham. Too far ahead of George Shaw. So the goal kick to be taken here by Sanderson again. Well, that always leaves the defender very deep when that happens. If he doesn't catch the ball properly, could be a problem for the defence. Flick on there, finds McIntyre. That was towards Harvey. It's well read by Duffy. Well, he'll have a very important role to play in the second half, as Airdrie will undoubtedly be offering some kind of onslaught in the Dundee defence. Boyle is well forward. It's hanging up there for Pajot. Plenty of time to collect. Joined the club from Queen's Park. Jimmy Boyle in 1987. Sandy Stewart going back. Shaw trying to make him work. He does so. Roddy Manley lets the ball run out there for the throw. St Mirren and Falkirk he played for before going to Hong Kong, returning to join Dundee this year. Verto's throw. Throw again to Dundee. Kenny Black cost £175,000 from Portsmouth in 1991. McCann couldn't get to the pitch of the ball. Now Boyle has moved ahead from Cooper and from Harvey. It's back here with Sanderson. Straight to the head of Tommy McQueen. Played such a vital role in that opening goal, McQueen. Harvey's pass, a delicate one, finds Kenny Black. A lot of power in that left foot. All the positioning by Michel Pajot made that look easy. But Kenny Black has scored a number of scorching long-range shots like that. Sanderson, the clearance. Goes for handball against Tony Smith by the Dundee supporters, ignored by referee McCluskey. Well, disappointment, I think, for the D's so far must be the fact that Morten Weghorst in midfield hasn't been able to take a grip on the play. The fighting qualities of Farningham have been more effective in this particular match so far. And also they haven't been able to utilise the developing skills of Jim Hamilton up front. A young striker, just 19 years old, and attracting the attention of a number of big clubs because of his skill and scoring abilities. Breaks through there for Shaw. Intended for McCann, a good interception by Boyle. Paul Harvey takes over. Boyle is going sprinting forward on the right hand side. He'll take the pass now. Harvey this time to Davis. Harvey wants it back. It's good play. The tackle by Duffy was timely. Jim Duffy is using all his anticipation and experience there to sort this out. It was dangerous. Had the Harvey got away from Jim Duffy, He was in the clear. Berto into space here for McCann. Jimmy Boyle caught a bit upfield. He's now racing back in the centre of the defence to fill in for Jimmy Sanderson, who's come across. No way through there for McCann. It was good defending by Airdrie. So a casualty, Steve Cooper for Airdrie as Jim McIntyre attacks. And he'll have a free kick, the foul by Berto. The referee checking there on the damage to Steve Cooper. He says he's all right. Kenny Black over the ball. Sean Sweeney going forward to the edge of the penalty area. He's shot to Sanderson. Here's Kenny Black again. Looking for Sweeney. Sweeney still in the area there, tackled well by Farningham. Well, desperate defending there by Dundee, hanging on grimly here. Farningham a key man so far in midfield for Dundee. His defensive qualities in particular so important. This is Cooper. Lots of power, the accuracy wasn't there though. The former York City striker letting fly there, and Duffy tracking him across, but Cooper did well to control that. Nicholas helps it on. Stewart makes sure Shaw can do no damage. Duffy kept his eye on the ball despite the pressure applied by Cooper. Well judged by Pajot. Scott Thompson a year ago was ordered off as he encroached outside his area and made a catch like that. Michel Pajot about a yard to the good there. So no problems there for the Frenchman. Cooper got up well, so did Harvey. McQueen's clearance. Scraps here for Hamilton to try to work on. The ball is out of play, he'll have to come back. Sean Sweeney there, checking with the referee the decision, which is a throw to Dundee. Referee Jim McCluskey's handled 3 League Cup finals, 1990, 1993 and 95. And that match last year when Craig Rovers won. An offside flag up on the far side. John McElhinney from Glasgow, the linesman. Well, it's a spoiling kind of game now for Dundee as they try to keep Airdrie at bay. The opening 15 minutes of this half will be seen as very important to Dundee to keep their lead intact. McIntyre with McQueen. The linesman says a corner kick. Tommy McQueen doing very well indeed, the 32-year-old defender. Well, this is always a problem for Dundee, coping with these corner kicks. And very good play by Manley initially. Decorst, poor clearance. That's Jimmy Boyle. Now he's scored a number of spectacular goals for Airdrie. A prolific goal scorer in that position. He scored 4 times this season. Well, he would expect to get this on target. Chance for Hamilton to display his skills here against Sweeney. Paul Tosh has to chase this, followed by Tony Smith. And he did very well indeed to get that back into the goal area. None of his teammates seemed to believe he could do that. They weren't there for the cross. Harvey. Challenged well by Berto. Sanderson again helps that on to his goalkeeper. Very good at that back header. This is Hamilton. Playing that through for Farningham, but again the depth provided in defence by Sanderson important to Airdrie. Caused and Tosh, a bit of confusion there, allowing Airdrie to take possession with John Davis. Played for St Johnstone here, of course. This was his home ground for a while after he joined St Johnstone from Clydebank. Headed away was by Manley. Davis again. Well tackled by Verto. Now Vikhorst. Neatly into space. Good play by Vikhorst. McCann now attacking Sanderson. Jimmy Boyle steaming back to support his captain. Into space it goes for Shaw, and a delicate pass. Found Shaw, still policed by Stewart. Well, you'll see the intention here was good from Neil McCann. He looked up to see the run being made by Shaw, but he was matched all the way by Stewart. McIntyre marked by McQueen. Good running off his marker there by McIntyre. Couldn't make progress. It came off the hand of Vikhorst unintentionally. This is a chance on here for Hamilton against Sweeney. 1 against 1. That's good defending by Sweeney. Stood up well to the turning and twisting of Hamilton. Davis to Harvey. Now Stewart. Judged in the air by Duffy, the bounce beat him. Well, Harvey had lots more time than he realised there. Could have brought that down and gone forward to the byline. Concern on the Airdrie bench. John McVeigh and Ali McDonald discussing things there. Could be a change shortly. Certainly the options available. We have Peter Duffield on the bench. Striker side from Hamilton Accies, and they have Tommy McIntyre and Marvin Wilson. That's good running there by Tosh. A bit of a tangle there between Stewart and Shaw. Berto will use his keeper here. There's no offside here. Hamilton couldn't take that forward. He had to turn back after the control. It plays into space. Vikhorst started the run and checked out. Made the pass look much worse than it was. Black. Smith breaks outside him. Duffy goes to face him. There really are few better timers of the tackle in that position than Jim Duffy. Chopped on by Hamilton. Shaw was offside. Well, the Dundee fans showing their anguish, but I think the linesman was absolutely right there. When the ball was headed on by Hamilton, Shaw appeared to be a yard offside. John McElhinney certainly thought so, although Shaw didn't. Manley took a blow in the face there from Cooper, and Cooper's in trouble. Flying elbows here. Steve Cooper has upset the Dundee players. Referee Jim McCluskey takes Cooper to the side. Roddy Manley's in trouble here on the ground. A blow in the face. And the interest here is the view taken by the referee, whether it's serious enough to be deemed serious foul play or violent conduct and result in a red card, or whether the colour will be yellow. Well, referee McCluskey not happy there. Steve Cooper protesting his innocence, clearly indicating it wasn't intentional. The Dundee players will require some convincing. They were very irate indeed. It'll be yellow after that long discussion. We'll see why here. Well, the arms are flying. I think it was careless rather than malicious. And he's back on his feet. We'll see what he thought of that shortly when the next chance comes to challenge Coca. Prefer to keep that in play. Helped on there by Cooper. Verto challenging Harvey. Vickers tries to bring some order to midfield. He's taken out late by Black. The finger raised by Kenny Black, indicating that was his first foul in the match. Really was concerned about the possibility of a yellow card, I think. Well, it was a bad tackle, all right. Vickers had the pass release before the tackle came in. Appears to be all right, the young Danish international. Duffy looking for Tosh. Space for McIntyre, which he really didn't utilise. The throw goes to Airdrie. Well, that tense opening quarter of an hour of the second half has been negotiated safely by Dundee, clinging to that one-goal lead. But the one certainty about this match is that Airdrie will run till they drop to try to turn this around. That's why they've had such a terrific record in cup ties in recent seasons. Hamilton's way off. Here's Shaw. McCann sprinting up outside him. McCann receives the pass. The pullback not dangerous at all because Sanderson was on his own. There's Davis. Breaks kindly there for Shaw. This is Hamilton, he's offside. That was excellent goalkeeping by John Martin in any event. Well, Shaw just a fraction late with the pass. Otherwise Hamilton would have been 1-on-1 in the keeper. Well, a ricochet allowed the ball to reach George Shaw. He then looked up to see Hamilton breaking. He was just offside. Lusky having to do some work here, keep things in control. That's Verto. Off goes Shaw, followed by Stewart. George Shaw was sick of the sight of Sandy Stewart before tonight's over. There's Tosh. Couldn't stay on his feet the first time. He's a powerful young man. And he's been fouled. He has a free kick. Sanderson and Shaw and Tosh exchanging pleasantries there. Well, it really isn't necessary at all, this. There was the fall initially. Then Tosh got up to fight for possession again against Tony Smith. And he was then held back by Smith. Referee McCluskey content to give the free kick. 10-yard rule scarcely obeyed there by Tony Smith. McCann flights it in. They're queuing up there for Dundee. Tosh was there. Vickers was there, so was Manley. There's a real menace inside the area, Morten Vickers. Again, the swerving free kick from McCann. Came off Vickers in the end. That's Duffy. Hamilton beaten by Sweeney in the air. Cooper lays it back. This is Kenny Black's a superb pass. Here's Tony Smith. Now Cooper. Well, the break of the ball could have been even kinder to Airdrie. Almost felt defeated Jim McIntyre. As it is, a corner kick has to suffice. It was that pass from Kenny Black which released Tony Smith for this cross ball. There was Cooper. Harvey's corner. Pajot beating it away. Boyle, a great effort. Frustration on the Airdrie man's face, but that was sweetly struck with the right foot. Punch away from Pajot. It was very well laid off by Kenny Black into the path of Jimmy Boyle. And Pajot wouldn't have got to that. Hamilton's header on, here's Shaw. Jimmy Sanderson complaining there about the attentions of George Shaw, I think. Trying to get some help from referee McCluskey. And he's been the wars tonight, Shaw. Tracked everywhere by Sandy Stewart. Here's McQueen with a throw. Dundee supporters still enjoying the occasion, but they'd be a lot happier with a second goal, no doubt about that. Just while the game is so tight, nothing can be taken for granted against a team like Airdrie. Beecrossed. Misunderstanding with McCann. Harvey shows himself very effectively there. Stewart did well, that's Black. Now Cooper. Impeded by Duffy. Good bit of football there from Airdrie. Steve Cooper blocked by Jim Duffy. I think he knew exactly what he was doing, the Dundee player manager. This is John Davis. Trying the return ball was Jim McIntyre. McCann. Sanderson on his own. Awkward that, the ball holding up in the wind. McQueen going in and making contact with the ball. There was no problem there. Jim McIntyre trying to get the better of McQueen. You see this here, McIntyre nodding the ball on there. McQueen played the ball, that's what made all the difference. Here's Tosh. Lashed away again by Sanderson. And the Airdrie players not happy with referee McCluskey. Sanderson and Kenny Black giving a little bit of attention. Harry McDonald also unhappy. Tosh now with the throw. Farningham trying to find space for a cross. Dumped away by Tony Smith. Here's Harvey. And Cooper. And McIntyre is just offside. It was very well organised by Jim Duffy, stepping forward with Roddy Manley at just the right moment. Say there's no substitute for experience, and Jim Duffy has that aplenty. Also a very fine player. Jim Hamilton keeping this in play. Nowhere to go there. Very well held up by Stewart. He's such a dogged defender, Sandy Stewart. No time wasting there. Referee McCluskey unhappy about that. Having words with Jim Hamilton. So the message is conveyed by the referee. Tosh again with a header. Boyle heading it forward. First to the ball was McQueen for Dundee. That's Shaw. Putting Jimmy Sanderson under pressure. Pointing there to Jim McCluskey. Because George Shaw comes sliding in late. Sanderson didn't appreciate that. This is Shaw again. And Stewart doing extremely well again in the marking role. Fouled by Shaw. 20 minutes, just a little less than 20 minutes remaining in the match. And he clinging to this one-goal lead. Airdrie will be contemplating a change here to save the tie. Manley's header was missed by Burto. Not the second time though. Now Stewart. Queen's had a good match. Hamilton to Beecrossed. Sliced away by Stewart. Airdrie are making their substitution now, with Peter Duffield being introduced and Tony Smith being withdrawn. So young Tony Smith, who's been playing wide on the left-hand side, comes off. Peter Duffield goes on, and Jim McIntyre has moved back into that position vacated by Smith. But it's an attacking move nevertheless, because Airdrie have to go for broke now, really. Here's Hamilton. Tosh sliding in with a tackle. Burto's clearance. Awkward for Stewart. Farmingham is first to the ball. There's Tosh ahead of him. Getting a call from the supporters of Dundee that he was being hassled by Peter Duffield. Dundee supporters waiting, hopefully, for the first final since 1980, when the League Cup was lost to Dundee United. There's John Davis. That's a dangerous ball, and Cooper at the far post. Pajot watching that very carefully indeed. Steve Cooper showing his acrobatic talent. Davis fighting that across. There's an overlap for Airdrie. Manley against Cooper. Hamilton with a little flick on. Shaw couldn't get there ahead of Stewart. It's been a frequent occurrence tonight. Boyle. Manley's clearance. Returned instantly by Sanderson. It's one-touch football, all right, but not the kind that we're dreaming about as we try to aspire to European heights. Manley turning that away. He didn't hear the call from Pajot. He did the only thing a central defender can do in that position, is play it to safety. Harvey, there's no offside. And there's a very firm tackle by Tosh. He works that right side very well for Dundee. Well, that's good play by Harvey. Again, calmly headed out by McQueen. Break on here, Hamilton. The run is made by Shaw. He's gone offside, clearly offside. Well, that was telegraphed, that run, really, and allowed the Airdrie experienced defenders to step forward. Manley's headed clearance. Foul by Davis, trying to offset his height disadvantage against Beekhorst with a little nudge into his back. So 15 minutes remaining. That's all the time left for Airdrie to keep up this incredible record they have. And if you fancied any side to save a tie late on these days, it would be Airdrie. Jim McIntyre heading it out with his new role wide on the left-hand side. He's in very good scoring positions, Jim McIntyre, but he had no real fortune in front of goal, especially in the first half. Farmingham tackled swiftly and fairly there by Black. Real workhorse in the middle of the field, Ray Farmingham. Certainly in no hurry at this stage in the match. Here's Hamilton holding it up. Corner kick's been given. Well, Hamilton did well there. He does have a very deft touch on that left foot. Neil McCann looks to swing this in on top of John Martin. Martin taking no chance there. Back with Tosh, who fancied another shooting chance from the edge of the area. Denied that opportunity by Davis. John Martin taking no chances either. McQueen forward. Shaw this time with Boyle. He's kept it in. It's a throw to Airdrie. And back it goes swiftly to John Martin. This will go a long way downfield, I'm sure. It's held up by the wind. McCann's header. Hamilton losing his footing there. And he's taken a knock. It's Veekhorst breaks. Well, that's good running by Veekhorst. McCann outside him. Chance on here for Dundee if this is an accurate cross. It isn't. It's a corner though. And a couple of players in trouble. Jim Hamilton and Sean Sweeney, who collided very awkwardly as Hamilton stumbled there when the ball came towards him. And then was tackled by Sweeney. Needs some attention here. Well, there was a stumble initially, tried to get back on his feet as Sean Sweeney came thumping into the back of the calf. And then some good play by Morten Veekhorst, showing excellent close control, and then releasing McCann. And the corner kick was earned from this cross. Broke off Sanderson. So the Dundee bench there. And Jim Duffy, of course, on the field. The player manager, John McCormick, the coach, is not there. We have a higher vantage point. Hamilton recovers in time for the corner. Header out, a good one by McIntyre. Very well won inside the area by Steve Cooper, who's taken a bang in the face. The referee holding play up because of a head knock here, quite correctly. Steve Cooper. Really that clearing header, but obviously took a knock in the process. Veekhorst was the main problem there, and Cooper not only had to cope with two players, he then landed very awkwardly. McDonald and John McVeigh considering their options now late in the match if they're going to save this. Difficult times these for these travelling Airdrie supporters. So a long delay being allowed here. There's a blood coming from the nose of Steve Cooper. Well, it's got to be stemmed. He doesn't want to leave the field though, that's for sure. So the match will be restarted by a dropped ball. And Jim Hamilton confirmed that he'd give that straight back to Airdrie. So the throw taken there by Boyle and picked up by John Martin. Cooper bringing that down very confidently indeed. Peter Duffield still hasn't really had a touch since coming on as substitute, but he is the kind of player who's liable to have only one touch in the match, and that could be the one which keeps Airdrie alive. There's Shaw. Space over on the far side for Veekhorst. It's Tosh rather. Tosh attacking. Well, that certainly worried John Martin. He's shown his shooting power already tonight with that opening goal. Paul Tosh taking up good position wide on the right. He had only one thought in his mind now, and that was to get into a shooting position. Again, the Dundee supporters over on the far side unhappy about the decision reached by Jim McCluskey to give a throw to Airdrie. That's Berto. Cross trying to release Jim Hamilton. Calling player is Sweeney, who's quick enough. Almost conceded a corner though. Kept in play well by Martin. Here's Sweeney again. Exchanging passes with Black. Time running out rapidly for Airdrie. Manley's return header. This is Sanderson. And now Stewart. Davis. That's a good knockdown, that. Not a bad ball at all from Jim McIntyre. He had no support on the end of that. Well, getting forward very well from that left flank position. Dundee supporters building up the noise as the final whistle approaches. Still about 7.5 minutes plus injury time. Well, there's been a lot of that in this second half. Sanderson launching the ball towards the Dundee penalty area. It's McQueen, it reaches Cooper. Deflection gives the corner kick to Airdrie again. Well, McQueen didn't get full power into this, and Cooper responded quickly. McQueen did just enough to deflect that. There's Paul Harvey again. Chance there, and Airdrie have equalised, and it's that man Duffield again. Quite remarkable. It's about his first touch of the ball, and John Davis did very well indeed initially, but the reaction of Duffield so swift, and he's put Airdrie right back in this semi-final. The deftest of little flicks there, catching Pajot off balance, and the Airdrie supporters celebrate now, and the match has to be won all over again. The goal coming after 84 minutes. The corner kicks have been a problem all night for Airdrie. This is Tosh. Stewart to the pass. That's kept in well. There goes Stewart again. Overheading his forwards there, but Manley cut that off in any event. Back with Pajot. Well, he didn't appreciate the pass back from Manley. He's given him a bit of stick there. Whether that was in French or English, I really don't know. But the message was perfectly clear. Roberto's clearance. Sanderson knocking it back to John Martin. Well, extra time now looming. Sanderson did well. Here's Black. Well, they won't be happy with the pass. Peter Duffield getting his fourth goal in Airdrie colours. He was a leading goal scorer in the First Division the last 2 seasons with Hamilton Accies. £135,000 he cost. Skidding all the way through, wind assisted to Martin. Very difficult to harness the wind in an attacking sense. Well, McCann lost his bearings. Look at all that activity on the Airdrie bench. Cup final place beckons again. Duffield to Cooper. There's no one in the middle there for Airdrie. All been sucked across to the right hand side. Watch the distance Pajot can get from this clearance. Problem is not to overhit his forward with the wind behind. It's an attacking weapon all on its own. It's awkward there for Martin even. Well, they seem to handle that very calmly indeed, John Martin. He knew it was wide of the target, I think. A huge kick out. Now, the Dundee forwards no chance of getting to that, but John Martin checked his post and knew everything was all right. Well, the Dundee supporters muted now. It's Airdrie fans who are making a noise. Lost. Hustled out of that by Black. He's in possession again. As Sanderson comes charging forward. Tackle was made by Duffy. This is Harvey. Handball appeals, struck the side. Cooper's header. Didn't get any turn on that. He's disappointed. Another brisk attack though from Airdrie. They sense victory, I think. Dundee looking a bit flat at this stage in the match. Harvey's header reaches Cooper again. Manley does well to nudge that back to his goalkeeper. Hamilton was determined. Break of the ball, falls for Shaw. This is McCann, a chance on here for Dundee. Delicate should be scored! It's a brilliant goal! Neil McCann for Dundee. A flash of genius from the Dundee youngster, and it looks like earning his team a cup final place. The supporters celebrated well they might. This was a classic. Break of the ball fell kindly for Dundee. Shaw released McCann. He assessed all the options, and make no mistake, that was quite deliberate, and Martin hadn't a chance. Look at it again from this angle. He looks up here, sees what's on, and that's a delicate chip, and that really is genuine quality. Neil McCann looks now to have put Dundee in the final. He'll have some defending to do before the end, though, I'm sure. That's his 5th goal of the season. Airdrie come forward again. They had looked the team more likely to win the match after the equaliser. Pajot at full stretch. The goal coming in 88 minutes. Transformation around McDermott Park now. Sandy Stewart, so the long ball forward. Duffy was held off there by Cooper with a clear foul, and it's been spotted by referee McCluskey. Jim Duffy waving his goalkeeper out to take this. Well, Peter Duffy's goal may come to nothing now in the end for Airdrie. Pajot to a very long run up here to waste some more time. A lot of injury time to add on. We've had 90 minutes now. Oh, he's put that right to the corner flag. That will please Dundee. And they're going to make a substitution. That's inevitable. They'll waste a few more vital seconds. Bringing on a substitute is Jerry Britton, who's waiting to come on. John McCormack there, coach, taking charge of things. Player coming off is Paul Tosh, perhaps because he's the furthest player away, I suspect. Paul Tosh being applauded warmly. He scored the opening goal and set up what looks like being a Dundee victory. Applauded all the way off. Player coming on is Jerry Britton. Adds extra goal thrust also welcomed by the Dundee supporters. Now, can Airdrie come back again? So full of resilience. Here's Morten Weghorst taking this for a run. Brought down there by Kenny Black, and the Airdrie players now becoming totally incensed for whatever reason, I don't know. But that was really outrageous, the attack on Weghorst. Now look at this here, he turns very quickly, appeared to be fouled by Black. Then he's kicked by Black, also by Sweeney. That was a desperate assault there by Sweeney. Now, he'll be very lucky to survive, I think. A free kick is gone to Airdrie for Weghorst protecting the ball, and Sean Sweeney survives what really was an outrageous assault on Weghorst. Well, the frustration apparent in the Airdrie ranks now. Well, they don't like to lose, that's apparent, and they are showing that quite apparently. Alec MacDonald also on the track, irate. John Robot on the fourth official with work to do there. Here's McCann. Now Hamilton. McCann, possession, the name of the game for Dundee. It's on the way by Boyle. We've had 2.5 minutes of stoppage time. A little more is certainly justified. Here's Neil McCann, up the line it goes to Britain. Into the corner it goes, a throw it is to Airdrie. Cuts off the throw to the goalkeeper though, Britain. Airdrie now trying to get the ball forward swiftly. Try again for a throw. Only 3 minutes of injury time have been played. There's Weghorst. And they'll be quite happy about this, keeping the ball out of the danger area, but Harvey has possession. Tackled by Farningham, that's McQueen. Launching it high down the middle. Martin will want to get this back quickly. The referee checking his watch carefully. It looks as though time is almost up. The header there was by Farningham, an offside flag up against Jerry Britton, trying to get back on terms, but certainly was caught offside. So this will be everyone forward. The ball will be launched by Sanderson. There's no time. Dundee in the final. Celebrations begin, and Neil McCann producing that little miraculous gem towards the end to settle the semi-final. Congratulated by all his teammates. Ray Farningham's 7th semi-final and his first success, and you can tell how he feels about that. But there's problems here. Supporters on the field. Well, that's a great pity. They have to be removed, and well, this is what we don't want to see. Supporters on the field taking a little bit of guilt off. A very determined Dundee performance. The player manager Jim Duffy can look forward now to a Coca-Cola Cup final against Aberdeen. He's waving the Dundee supporters off the field quite correctly. There's no need at all for that, but it looked as though Peter Duffield had brought Airdrie right back into the semi-final, and it took that little stroke of genius from an outstanding young player in Neil McCann to take Dundee to the final. Well, he's savouring the moment, looking forward to Hampden Park already, I've no doubt. And it was a goal worthy of winning any match. It's Dundee who will be in the final at the end of November. The final score, Dundee 2, Airdrie 1.